Hey guys, and welcome to the first episode of What to Read with MotoRuxin. I also have the What to Watch with MotoRuxin. I'm a MotoRuxin, but you can also friend me on Goodreads under my government name, which is Brittnie Teeple. I go to movies and watch TV probably far more than I should, but when I was a kid, I used to be a huge reader. Dean Koontz was my absolute favorite. My favorite book of his was probably Intensity. I think that was the first book of his I read, and I was just hooked. Really sad that I didn't have Goodreads when I was in school, because I actually had this piece of paper, lined notebook paper, and I made a list of every Dean Koontz book there was, and I highlighted them as I finished them. So I was a big old nerd. I thought that when I graduated, college, that I'd finally get a chance to read all of the books, but that I didn't have time to when I was in school. But life happens and you just get busy and you don't read as often as you used to. I cross-stitch on Twitch, I play pool, I run marathons, and of course I watch so many movies and TV while I'm cross-stitching. So I'm hoping that this series of reviewing books will, help keep me reading now and then. I can sprinkle some in as I finish books. But for this first review, we're going to actually just be talking about the most recent book that I've read, which is Home is Where the Bodies Are by Jeneva Rose. I'm one of those people that, I'll pick new books based on the cover, and this one's, really cool. So, yes, that's the author here is Jeneva Rose. Home is Where the Bodies Are. And here's kind of a list of other books she's written. I guess she's more known for her first, big one was The Perfect Marriage, and then The Perfect Divorce, I think, just came out this April, more recently, so maybe that's why. This book was just last year, so that's why it kind of jumped out at me. I think it was at a Walmart when we were getting some food while we were on vacation, so I picked it out, just based on, I wanted something to read while we were chilling by the pool. But yeah, so she's got, The Perfect Marriage, Perfect Divorce, or, that's the sequel. You Shouldn't Have Come Here. Home is Where the Bodies Are. It's a Date Again. Dead Woman Crossing, and then there's a new one that's coming out, Dating After the End of the World. It's expected in September of this year to come out. So yeah, those are her books, but we're going to go ahead and just get right on into this book that I have read recently, and it's a fiction, thriller, mystery book, and so I'll go ahead and just kind of give you the plot of it. After their mother passes away, three estranged siblings reunite to sort out her estate. Beth is the oldest. She never left home. She stayed with her mom, caring for her right up until she died. Nicole, the middle child, was kept at arm's length due to her ongoing battle with a serious drug addiction. And then there's Michael, the youngest. He lives out of state and he hasn't been back to their small town in Wisconsin since their father ran out on them 7 years before. So this is, their last parent, since they don't know what happened to their father. He just left a note, disappeared, bam, gone for 7 years. And then while going through their parents' belongings, as they're sorting through the estate, the siblings stumble upon a collection of home videos, and they decide to watch some of the happier memories when they were kids. But then the nostalgia is cut short when one of the VHS tapes reveals a night back in 1999 that none of them have any recollection of. So on screen, they see their father covered in blood, and then what follows is there's a dead body, and then there's a pact between the parents to just get rid of it. And that's right before the video just abruptly ends. So it just must have gotten forgotten to be erased, or maybe it was left on purpose. But the children, Beth, Nicole, and Michael, as adults now, they have to decide whether to just leave this be or uncover the dark secret that their mom took to her grave. So that's the synopsis that's on the book. But yeah, so it takes place in Allens Grove, Wisconsin, which is actually a real town in Wisconsin, and one of those small towns, then nothing bad ever happens, but then, something bad does happen. And this is, in 1999, what happens is a girl disappears. And then eventually they do find her body. And so it turns out, fairly early on you learn that, the body is the child that went missing way back then. And the book is actually really fun in that it's written from each chapter is a different perspective of a different character. So you get, starts out with Beth, with her dying mother. Then it goes to Nicole, and so it sets up the characters. You get their viewpoint of what's going on. And then you even get their mother left behind some journals, so you even get her perspective as things go along and you learn what's going on. So it's a fun read, and it's actually a pretty quick read. It's pretty short. It's only, not even 300 pages. The big type. So it's fast. One of those page turners that you can get through pretty quick. But as we go through, so each character. You've got Beth. She's a divorcee. She stayed in town to take care of their mother, who is named Laura. So it starts out, she's on her deathbed, and you kind of learn that she had a tough relationship with her siblings. Like I said, she took care of her mother, so she's a little bitter that she was the only one that stayed home to take care of her. She even has a rough relationship with her own daughter. Her daughter is in the army, so she never really see her. You get some phone call action with her, and it shows, that they're not very close. And it's because 7 years prior, their father disappeared, gone. They don't know what happened. He left a note and disappeared. And that really hit Beth hard because he just left out of nowhere. And it just put a strain to being obsessed with finding him and looking for him. So her marriage and family life really suffered. And then you got Nicole is the second born. She's the middle child, and she really suffers with drug addiction. And she was a really good writer in school, and she never stopped. That's her way of therapy, getting through things, is just writing everything down, writing poems, all kinds of stuff. And that was what she wanted to do with her life. But the drug use really prevented her from thriving in adulthood. She got in with a rough crowd in school. She was, that rebellious kid. So it put a strain on her relationship with her mother, and sibling. She was the thief, stole money, just kept asking for, second chances, would try to get clean, but then, go right back to it. So to the point where she wasn't even allowed to come home anymore until her mother saw that she had that 1 month chip. You need to get clean and stay clean. And then it turns out she doesn't get back in time to visit her mother before she dies. She wanted to wait till she got that chip. And unfortunately, it was, the next day after she would have died, which would be when she had gotten it. So then you have Michael, he's the one that made it out. He's the successful kid. He makes a lot of money now. He was the favorite. The parents really set him up for success. They bought him a computer, sent him to the computer camp so that way he could learn coding and stuff. So that resulted in him being the one that was able to move away and makes a lot of money. You see throughout the book that he's the one that's buying nice stuff, and he wears a nice watch. So there's some bitterness between Beth and him, especially because she's the one that sacrificed her own life to stay home and take care of their mother. But he's the most stable as far as his life is more successful than the others. He kind of thinks more logically than the others, less emotional and more okay, this is what we gotta do. And he's a good referee between especially Nicole and Beth, who since they both stayed in town, their relationship is more rocky because Beth has had to take care of Nicole as well with her drug addiction. So Beth really, like I said, she's resentful to Michael for being the success while she has kind of put her life on hold to take care of their mom. And their father's name is Brian, and what we kind of learn is that, he disappeared 7 years ago, and they never found him. He never came back. And then, their mother, Laura, she's the one that passes away at the beginning of the book, and the reason why all these characters are coming together. She was sick for a while, so they knew it was coming, and so they were all kind of okay, this is the end, so that they're all kind of on their way back the day that she passes away. And we do get bits and pieces of her perspective, too. She leaves journals behind that she leaves to Nicole, the writer, so Nicole kind of gets to read, her mom's journal entries to kind of figure out what's going on in her life. And actually, her dying breath, Beth was there with their mother when she passes away. She kind of lets out that the father didn't really disappear, and she warns Beth not to trust, but she passes away before she could say who not to trust. And so Beth kind of blew it off as, dying woman. She doesn't even tell her siblings until later on because she doesn't really know what to make of it. And then, yeah, we find out that there's, some other, like, splattering of love interests among the kids and other people involved throughout. That kind of sets up the events. And then, especially, like, the events that happened when they were kids, and that affected their parents. And again, like I said, they find this videotape in their belongings that shows, this dead body. We don't know how she died. We don't know what happened. We just know that their parents covered it up. Like, they got rid of the body, and that's that. So basically they have to decide, okay, are we going to figure out what happened, or is this just going to hurt us, like, our careers, like, our lives? Like, we don't want to be, the ones that are the kids of, whoever killed this, this person. So that's kind of what we follow along, is them uncovering some things. So I'll say, is it worth the read? I think so. It's a quick read, page turner, which is what I need, because I tend to buy a lot of books. I start them, I stop them, I jump around, do a lot of different books, go back and forth. So if it's a book that can keep me entertained and I can get it done quick in a couple of days, it's a good book for me. Like, I need that, otherwise I'll lose focus and then jump around to other books. Yeah, I'm very bad with that. So yeah, I bought it on vacation because I like the cover, and that's also how I stumbled upon Paul Tremblay is another author that I really like. He's one of my more recent favorite ones. I bought Knock at the Cabin one random day at an airport, and I really liked that book. So then I bought Head Full of Ghosts, which definitely recommend that book too. That one's probably my favorite of his so far. I mean, Knock at the Cabin's good. It also is a movie adaptation, and I would love for Head Full of Ghosts to also get a movie adaptation. It's so good. I'm currently reading, he has a new one out called The Pallbearers Club. I'm still working on it, but that'll probably be our next review, because it's going to be the next book that I finish. But anywho, Home is Where the Bodies Are was really fun, and I actually had a bit of trouble trying to figure out, like, the mystery and uncover, like, what happened. But also I'm really bad at doing that, like, in general, like, guessing mysteries and endings of, like, movies and books. Like, I always, like, my brain will come up with, like, so many different things, and it usually, sometimes it's kind of right, but I don't stick with my gut, and then I end up thinking of, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But this book was a fun one. Like, it like set up different options for you, so it's kind of fun to try to guess what's gonna happen. But it was a fun read, so I'd recommend it, and I might even check out some of her other books, because I heard it's which ones are they? It's the Perfect Marriage and the Perfect Divorce are the ones that are, like, recommended, I believe, as her first kind of breakout books. But yeah, so that's it for Home is Where the Bodies Are. So besides being an occasional reader and an avid moviegoer, you can also find me on Twitch, streaming my cross-stitch and occasional gaming, and I am MotoRuxin on all of my socials. So follow all the things to keep up with everything I'm doing. So until the next one, happy reading, and hopefully I'll get another one posted pretty soon. Goodbye, everybody.